I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Helen, any minutes?
No.
All right, reports.
Look for quarter fees for October.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're still, but that's from the clerk reporter of how much there?
17,217.
All right, 25 cents. Thank you.
You know, so you got a report from the treasurer this morning.
Oh, yes.
He's balanced and good this last month.
I didn't get it yet in an email, so.
Yeah.
Shit. No one got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave it to her.
Okay, any correspondence?
I have none.
Commissioners, correspondence?
None.
Nope.
Okay. Calendar review.
Night at 5 UI Task Force. Tomorrow, there's a Boulder Health Clinic building meeting. Here. It's in this room,
We're at the health clinic, yeah, it's right here.
at 10. Fancy Water and Sewer at 6:30. Thursday. Mental Health Local Advisory Committee meeting at noon. Survey review at 1:30. Commissioner Haggerty's Friday. And Monday. Parks and Rec next Monday?
I'm sorry?
It's tonight. They moved it to tonight.
Yes, exactly. Yep, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, 6:30. She's
The
right.
Parks and Rec meeting will be tonight at 6:30.
I have a health board meeting tonight at 5:30.
So I guess we're just going around. Then I got a library board meeting Thursday at 6:30 PM here in Boulder.
I've got GLDC tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock.
And I have a Rocky area 4 agent meeting on Thursday morning at 10,
10.
I think.
Anything else, gentlemen? We good?
No, nothing.
Okay, that's quite a bit. Okay. All right, what's next? Commission reports. Commissioner Kirsch.
All right, I guess I'll go back 2 weeks ago since we weren't here for last week's meeting. Let's see, first off, solid waste safety board meeting. It's not really a board meeting, but a safety meeting for the employees. We had personnel folks come in and train the site attendants on de-escalation, tense interactions with the public. Don't have a whole lot of problem with that, but it's good to remind them, you know, when you get into a conflict with somebody at the site's how to de-escalate it and try not to get in a screaming match with them. Doesn't look good when we're screaming back and forth. They're being safe, no accidents, no injuries for the last month, so that was good. Let's see. Last week morning, we did have a road meeting. Bear kind of gave us a fill in of what was going on. Grading up Forest Park, we got quite a few driveways that are coming down onto the road that eventually slough off into the road. He's been cutting those back to get the road back into shape. We try to shape them back up the best we can when we can, but there's always usually a little bit of a gap, and most everybody's good about going down and smoothing that back out so they can jump the gap, but I never heard any complaints, so he must have got it done satisfactorily. Let's see, anything else worth mentioning? Lots of grading, trying to get all the grading done before it actually freezes. We've been fortunate to have quite a few weeks here of extended grading season before it freezes. Our guy that's been off for quite a while down south, Easton, is back to work as he can. So that'll help bear out, and having two folks down in Whitehall again. We've been without him for darn near 6 or 8 months, huh?
Somewhere there.
Hired on a new guy up on the Montana City side, Kellen Malum. I'm not sure if you know Kellen. Malums are pretty prevalent in the Clancy area, so he's gonna join our crew up in the Montana City side. He was supposed to start Monday, so he's supposed to be good, and we'll look forward to having a good hand on deck up there. Let's see, they picked up a new patch truck. That's a hot patch truck that they can dump hot asphalt in and keep the asphalt hot all day. It was a used one they found, and they're looking forward to be able to work with their asphalt throughout the day instead of just the first few hours until it hardens up and gets cold again. So that'll help us with our patching. Meeting with Great West about the federal lands access program projects. We're going to try to get ahead of that. The applications are due first part of 2027. We're going to take 2026 and work on applications for Lump Gulch and all the roads that lead up into the forest, into the federal lands. So hopefully we'll have quite a few grant applications ready for their opening in 2027. Barry's working on some new draft road standards. We're trying to figure out how they coincide with the ones that are in the subdivision regulations. They have to mesh, they have to match, so we got a little bit of work to do on that. And let's see. We met with the health department after that, kind of the same thing going on with the health department. Lots of home visits, lots of vaccinations. Had to go back and revaccinate because they didn't have guidance on the COVID, so they had to go back and kind of start over with the COVID vaccination. Back then we were talking about the food share and the WIC program not being funded through the feds. That's kind of alleviated itself. I think the county's still going to do an effort to help bolster the food share programs in the county by taking up donations throughout the county here, hopefully. Haven't heard anything about
I haven't
that.
heard back from Carol. I'll have to try to give her a call. and see what
Okay,
it's
yeah,
saying.
figure out that program. It'd be good to get that going again. The car we got back from JLDC, the health department's been using that, and they're appreciative of having that extra car. They've been going every which direction lately, so having the 2 cars has been nice. They say the new car will probably fit most of their needs, so the second one will be parked at their clinic. Everybody in the county needs a car for a long run. And they hired a behavioral health coordinator, Rochelle Hesford, part-time behavioral health coordinator, so that'll be nice to have her on board. Let's see, what else? Then we discussed extension for the Pipestone RV Park for their subdivision final review, I guess. Is that right, Ladana? They had until
No, their preliminary approval.
the preliminary approval?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was gonna expire.
We pushed that off for another year. They got some wastewater issues going on up there that they've got to figure out with DEQ before they can finish their plat, so. Let's see, safety meeting again, this time with the road safety meeting last week, the road crew. Jesse gave a pretty good overview on drug use and the effects of that and how it affects our county and Montana as a whole. Good information. And everybody's being really safe in the road department too. We've gone, I don't know how many, it's probably been over a year or more without a loss of work injury. So knock on wood, we keep that going. We got a nice rebate check from Montana State Fund. That doesn't have anything to do with us together. It's everybody in the Montana State Fund program gets a rebate check depending on how the whole program runs, but our amount that we pay to state fund goes down if we don't have injuries. So we've been doing really good on that. We're working our way up to probably the least amount we have to pay for that program. So it's good. Let's see, BTAC I didn't make it to because the safety meeting ran over. And let's see. We had a Southwest Montana Regional Juvenile Detention Board meeting last Wednesday, I guess, yeah, last Wednesday morning. We're in it with Beaverhead, Butte, Gallatin Park. I think there's a couple more counties in there. The ones that have actually used some of their, what do you call it, their budget as far as that grant application. Beaverhead's 12% spent, Butte's 100% spent. I think they're overspent. Butte, Silver Bowl, Gallon's about half spent their grant amount, and Park is over budget as well, so. We get just a minimal amount from that grant, and we have to kind of fill in when we go over. We haven't spent anything yet, but I think Ginger said she had some claims that hadn't been put in there yet, so we'll be bumping that. We almost spend all our grant every year on juvenile detention, so
or more.
definitely, yeah, almost always more. Let's see. Last Thursday morning, we came in for a municipal election canvass. I think they had one ballot, I guess, for the mayor in Whitehall. That's all we had to double check, and that all looked good, so the canvas went well. Yeah, let's see, what else do we got? This morning we met. Who did we meet with this morning? I'm trying to think. Prickly Pear Land Trust, that's right. Prickly Pear is working on, actually, they did buy a piece of property next to Rattlesnake Butte up there in the Montana City area. There's a piece of property down there in the bottom, right on the creek, that really doesn't have much use for development. It's just too small and too close to the creek, so they bought it from the person to hopefully add on to our Prickly Pear park up there. But they're gonna work on developing it, or figure out if they want to develop it or whatever, and then offer it to the county to add to the Prickly Pear, whatever, no, not the Prickly Pear, but the Rattlesnake Butte.
Rattlesnake Butte.
Yeah, park up there, so that'll be nice. We'll see what they come up with, and they're gonna work with our Parks Rec Trails Commission to get a use program up there, and that little piece of property might connect us under the interstate over to the Jefferson County property by the solid waste side over there, to make a straight through shot that a trail could continue on under the interstate there, and up towards Forest Park in that area. So trying to get trail connectivity is sometimes a challenge, and Prickly Pear does well with that. Let's see. And we met with the treasurer this morning as well, and she just gave us a quick report. Everything's all balanced out. Yeah, balanced out. I think if she had anything else, I'll let you guys fill in the blanks. I guess that's about all I've been up to.
That's about all we talked about there.
Yeah, that's about it. That's why you wanted me to go first.
You got it
Well, I
covered.
guess so, yeah, I'll remember that next time, thank you.
Mhm.
You got anything, Commissioner DeLuise?
Yeah, I did. I had a meeting on Monday that I couldn't get the Zoom to work. I did not attend the North Library District. I attended the meeting for Jefferson County Museum on the afternoon of the 11th. We discussed their basement and all of the asbestos and lead paint mitigation that was done down there. Is still kind of a mess, but we're gonna try to work through it. I spent some time on the phone with Brett Leon over the Clancy Old Red Schoolhouse, over what we're gonna do with that and how we're gonna hopefully take care of it. So we're in the works on that. Their budget's looking good. They are redoing their website. They approved that. And it seems like they got a pretty good plan going there. And they just reported on the museums doing really well. Their attendance is up. People are showing up. They're dealing with the kids from the school. Lots of stuff going on there. Pretty cool place. If you haven't been there, you probably have. There's a lot of stuff in there. Those ladies do a good job. So no survey review either Thursday. That's what I got. And all the tough stuff Corey went over.
Yeah, pretty much, and I was supposed to be a CTAC meeting, but we had the election canvas for the mayor of Whitehall, so that's pretty much it.
One second, Mr. Chairman, was our solid waste meeting this morning. I didn't mention the solid waste meeting. We had one guy fall into the can up into Montana City. We were more than careful with him. We usually open the gates up there only when they need to back in, and we gotta have a site attendant right there watching them. You know, he was in his trailer and he had a bunch of brush, I guess, in the back of his trailer, and he grabbed the corner of the tarp and started pulling, and our site attendant's like, you're gonna end up in the can, you're not doing it right, you're gonna whatever. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna fall in. I reassured her like 3 times he's not gonna fall in the can. One yank on that tarp, ripped, and down in the can he went on his head, so he ended up injuring his head, and had a couple broken ribs, and so there wasn't much more we could do with that. I mean, safety wise, without them trying to throw brush and stuff over the top of the fence to get it to can, it just doesn't work very well, so. We're working on, specking out, actually, we spec'd out a new, haul truck. We'll probably get that ordered after we get the paperwork done. That's part of the meeting today. Should be a good, I don't think we've ever had a new truck for this program. Voters voted it in. Well, we didn't really vote it in, but we went around the county and got comment on it, and everybody was more than for a little bit of raise in the rates to get a new truck and hopefully a new barn to keep our trucks out of the weather out there. We had one of our other trucks that we just put a new engine go down last week or the week before, and we think it might be foul play. Somebody might have put something in the oil of that. We're trying to look into that right now. Only had 100,000 miles on a new engine. We're working through that, and hopefully we'll get down to the bottom of that. We're putting cameras up so they look at the trucks all the time instead of, we can see people going in and out of the yard, but we can't see right at the truck. So we're working on getting that mitigated, and hopefully the cops will be able to figure out if we can hold anybody responsible for that. Anything else you guys can think of, high points of that? Mike's been doing a good job with the solid waste program, and it's running very smooth, so. Oh, we're getting bids also. He got 3 bids to do some earthwork up in the Montana City site. All that asphalt drains off right down into the bottom part of the thing and then over our neighbor's driveway, so we have to do some dirt work up there to get it all corralled into a pool there, so it'll evaporate off instead of running down the hill and across the neighbor's driveway into the what do you call that, the swamp or the marsh or the wetlands down there. So so we probably should have done that when we designed the solid waste site, but we were looking to the solid waste site and not below it. We kind of missed that, so we're gonna have to work on that now. So I think that was it, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, I missed that one.
No, very much like you covered it all. All you gotta do now is sign the book. So. Okay, right now I need to skip opportunity for public comment, but we'll come right back to that because we're time sensitive on the subdivision review, which is a preliminary plat review of the Holmes Gulch Hollow Minor Subdivision, Montana City. Would that be you, Lindsay?
Yes, that is. All right, so you guys have information from the minor subdivision. This is a lot consisting of 7.91 acres of undeveloped property that they are proposing to divide into 3 lots, all for single family residential use. This is in the North Jefferson County zoning district, R2 zoned area. The lot sizes would be from 2.06 acres to 3.03 acres, and that does comply with the zoning that is in there. It will come off Holmes Gulch Road, so they don't have any roads planned. Their access will be off that road, so there's no roads going into the subdivision. There is utilities over there. They've talked to Northwestern already about bringing utilities in there. They don't see it as an issue. There was a request for them to meet with Fire County and Fire Safe Working Group to do a hazardous fuels assessment. They did get that assessment done. They've actually already finished the whole fuel mitigation project, and it's been signed. There are some piles that need to be burned, and they're going to do that when it's safe. So it looks actually really good, the amount of work they've done and trimmed up, but there are piles there, and that is going to be taken care of. They do have a fire protection plan, vegetation management plan, and a signed weed management plan in their application. They are not proposing covenants. Most of the typical covenants that we have in there, the zoning already covers it. So it's not needed. There is Crossfire Estates covenants up there that can apply to this land as well. So they're not needed. Zoning covers it all. They do not need to do cash or parkland is not required because it is a minor subdivision. And based on the staff report, findings of facts, and the conditions of approval and the planning board recommendations, you can approve the proposed subdivision if you choose. Do you have any questions?
I have one question.
Sure.
So you start out on, I think it's page 1, and it says minor, and then you have it starred. And it talks about what that is in the next section, and that it won't be reviewed as a first minor. But then when you get to where your meeting minutes were, you talk about it being a first minor again. Is that because you made the decision afterwards, or was it just figured that it can't be a first minor for some reason?
No, it is the first minor.
It
So
says, it says it's not being reviewed as a first minor though.
What page is that?
That might be next to road credit.
What page?
Here's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So here, we do it here. And then you explain it, but then in your, you talk about. First minor subdivision, primary source thing with whole subdivision, first minor subdivision.
Right.
I think they say it's not a minor subdivision, not a first minor.
What's that?
Did you see the condition?
I just wanna make sure that's.
I saw them, but I can't find them now.
They're in the
Oh,
big package.
That big pass. I
oh, that shouldn't have been in there. It is a
think
first
there's like,
minor.
what,
We
13
missed
of them or
it.
something?
Okay,
Yeah, it's the first minor.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, we should have taken that. It is the first.
Yeah, planning of factors on page 12.
Oh, 16, thank you. Thank you. Oh, okay.
And I can just clarify something there. Everything that the county requires is not necessarily in the zoning. We will have covenant type of items on the plat that are required. They just to clarify that.
The tract B, the big one in the back, I guess,
Mhm.
it's got quite a long run here. Is that driveway more than what the 150 feet?
It is a
required?
condition that it has to meet, or they have to do the cul-de-sac. So we
Okay.
did make that as a condition and let the engineer know that, so he's aware that if it's over that.
Then he
It
has to
has
have a
to-
turnaround.
yes.
Okay. Is that,
It's for any subdivision, but we don't usually just put that in like specifically per lot because you don't know where their driveways are gonna go. and
That's
all
true,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff, so.
okay, as long as they're aware of that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we usually have them put on the plat is the driveway requirements, so they know they need a turnaround.
It all look good to me, other than those questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. If that's the case, then we'll go ahead and call, I would, entertain a motion then.
I'll move we approve this preliminary plat, including the proposed findings of fact and conditions of approval, Mr. Chairman.
You have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Lindsay. Well, back then. Okay, now, we're gonna go ahead for opportunity for public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone in the audience or on site that wishes to speak of something, but we cannot take any action on it on the agenda. So the only thing I would ask first is prior to what you have to say, if you would introduce yourself by giving your name, please, and go from there. All right, you have to be it, Mr. Marks.
Okay, I'm Steve Markland from Clancy. And thanks commissioners for allowing me the opportunity to express my opinion and some concerns with the FEMA designation that's coming to a close here in a few weeks. I guess my first question is, as a landowner, my brother and I, Gary at Post Yard, what is in this designation? How does it affect us? What are we gonna get out of it? And so far, I've found it for us causes us more restriction. What can be placed on or in the ground, more permits to stabilize creek banks. Having to get engineer plans for stream bank stabilization projects and bridge placements. Further setbacks for drain fields, wells, and building restrictions. What about brush removal and dikes to contain water where the FEMA map shows 0.1 to 0.5 feet of water? Installing a new irrigation head gate. Installation of pipe in an irrigation ditch which is in the floodplain or adjacent to a creek. What is the process?
It requires permits.
Find that in the FEMA regs, very confusing. I've been told that if a practice has to do with agriculture, there are no restrictions. Which can mean for one thing for the landowner, and quite another for the regulator. What about raising the elevation of a parcel of land to get above the floodplain? Are we going to have to get permits? for
Yes,
this?
you need permits for that too.
Permits too. There are maps on the FEMA website that show proposed floodplain with 0.1, which is 1.2 inches. 2.5, which is 6 inches. You know, floodplain. An inch in a valley is quite a difference. On the same map, it shows Marks Miller Post and Pole on the portion of Marks Ranch in the floodplain. But the county road is not, and this is in the depth file, I guess you will, of the map. County road was flooded in 1981. And it finds ironic that it is not in the flood. Why the discrepancy? Maybe because it's a county road. Doesn't make any sense to me on my road. On to the FEMA map in Class 8. Pass the pictures out of here.
Thank you, sir.
FEMA map of Clancy shows water running north down Main Street and doing so throws some homeowners in the floodplain. Again, with minimal water depth. This is most likely because the bridge on Main Street is too small. County had this rebuilt after the 81 flood as the bridge. And as the bridge sits today, it is very obstructed with brush and other debris. See the new pictures taken this morning. Here. Lack of masons will surely have more water running down, running north down Main Street. What can we do to increase flow on this bridge? Lower the floor of the creek a few inches and be proactive in keeping water free from debris and water passes through the bridge and downstream from the bridge. I've been told by a civil engineer lowering the level of the creek floor a few inches would take these areas out of the floodplain. And this could be a simple fix if the creek has a little fall there. These pictures, number 2 picture there shows downstream of the bridge looking upstream under the walking path bridge. We've got a bridge above the walking path that is quite large. It's a square structured concrete bridge, you guys know. And that bridge below the Main Street sits a good distance below the bottom of the exit side of the bridge, as you can see. Let's see. Number 3 photo, that's just a standing on the north side of Clancy Creek looking down into the creek. You can see how the brush is encroaching the creek channel. And that bridge on the left is the walking path, which is, I don't know, at least a couple feet below the exit elevation of the bridge. Probably should be removed and raised. So that bridge, that parcel of that concrete slab on the bridge was stacked on the other side of the creek for years. And the county got a good deal on or whatever, but they decided they couldn't use that for the bridge structure, so they redesigned the bridge redesigned And the county put that bridge there for a walking path. It's just sitting on the ground. Hopefully. LiDAR elevation shows on number 4, LiDAR elevation shows zone X. It's the gray area or the tan area there. Clancy School buildings are in zone X. I've been told that's a 500-year mark, 500-year flood. And over here on the right side of that picture where I got that arrow drawn, that's Mark's Ranch property. Part of it is. But the property right north is the same elevation all the way down. In fact, it gets lower as it goes north. Is not in that zone X. So why is our property in zone X and not that property? But anyway, I'm not trying to throw them people into the floodplain, but there's what's going on. Far above the elevation there is far above the blue elevation. Number 5. Plain depth grid, and that's showing Lump Gulch. You see the road there as not having any water on it. And I make this statement because my concern with the FEMA designation here is not coinciding with the 1981 flood on this property. Not in Clancy, and not on Mark's Ranch property, and not on Mark Miller property. And I'm very concerned that we're going to be roped into this, and if we want out of it, it's going to be a nightmare for us. Because once this thing is codified, it takes an act of Congress to change it. What I've been told with other people that have witnessed this. So it is our ask that you be our advocates, private landowners, to consider this designation very serious, not for just Clancy, but for the county. I'm working with the DNRC, and I'll have to go to the governor. I'll go to the governor and we'll say, what the heck's going on here? Because it's not just in Jefferson County this is happening. You know that. It's all over. But why do we put a FEMA designation on our property that is not going to have houses built on it because it's high water mark anyway? But it restricts us if we want to do a ditch or a head gate or riprap. I want to put riprap in a creek now, and I've done this, we've done this, taking care of that creek for over 120 years. Keeping sediment from going down the creek and washing our fields out. Now I'm gonna not only, and I currently get 310 permits, I know how the system works, I've gotten many of them. Now I'm gonna have to go to FEMA or the Corps of Engineers, get it engineered before I can do it, anything. It's crazy. It makes no sense. So this is where we're at today. We've got some people in Clancy that are really upset on that map here, that the water's going down Main Street. That water on that 81 flood went down Main Street because we, at the time, before Red Cliff was there, we had an irrigation head gate upstream from the Haynes barn. And it went down through Dave and Shannon. The last name skips me, but between the red barn and the little Haynes house, and then went down along the road. When the high water come down, it went over that head gate, went down through there, and it's, you know, right where that long strip is down Main Street. And then those irrigation pipes couldn't handle it, so they water backed up, flowed over into the legal tender parking lot, which wasn't there at the time. That was the field. But it appears that that's why that is there. Could have been from the bridge. But according to Cliff Meese, he's a civil engineer, he did some calculations on the culvert. That if that bridge, the bottom of the floor was raised lowered a few inches, we cleaned the mouth of the culvert out, get good outflow in the pipe. All that designated for proposed FEMA wetlands on Main Street would disappear. I think it's important that we do that before we have a FEMA designation. Not only for our sake, but for those people. So it's right to do that. And if you need somebody to do it, you get it taken care of, designed or whatever, I'll clean the damn thing. We've got heavy equipment, we can do that kind of thing. But it should be done. Down in the field there on north of Clancy, there's an open field there we let people use. I feel that designated blue line is not accurate. No, it isn't. And could I build a berm perhaps? Wouldn't take much of a berm if it's an inch or 2 inches or 4 inches, whatever, but I've been told we can't do that. So it seems like the designation is a little bit before the horse there, but we're not taking this very lightly, and I would hope that you would be an advocate of the citizens that have spoken about this. And we don't go sign this thing and rope us into this until we can mitigate these issues. Is that a fair ask?
I think it's a fair ask, but I don't know if it's a possible ask. I mean, they didn't put these maps out for us to fix everything to mitigate the problem. They put these maps out so we're aware of the problem and move forward. Obviously, we don't have time to fix everything on these maps before we actually have to approve of them, so. The approval is for the maps themselves. If there's any discrepancies in the maps that we feel are there, that's what this little bit of time is, so we can fix the discrepancies in the maps. I think if we went out tomorrow and fixed everything here, the map's gonna stay the same. I mean, it's not gonna change anything, because they're not gonna come back and redo all the LiDAR and do all the calculations before it needs to be approved. Is that right, Lydia? Am I talking right?
Right.
This specifically is for this data set. Is it right or is it not right? That's what they're asking us at the point right now. They're not saying, here's the problem, fix it before you approve it. That's not the case. This is the data we have. If you have a problem with it, now's the time to say. So that's kind of where we are, Steve. And I gotta call FEMA and get some more information on it and what's our responsibility as commissioners. You know, what does our signature do on this thing? Does that approve the data set on this map? You know, I think once this gets through, there's gonna be money for these projects, that bridge, the culvert, all that. There's gonna be money that FEMA's gonna put out to help mitigate a lot of this stuff within the, especially the populated areas. You know, they wanna get that stuff fixed, and that's why they're doing this. I don't know if you heard of Livingston, but they fought this, I don't know how long, and they got a bunch of it taken out of the floodplain. Then the very next year, guess what? It flooded a bunch of people out. So the city's sitting there, obviously like, oops. So I'm a little bit weary about fighting back too much on this. I mean, if there's some data on here that's not right, I think Mr. Meese was gonna go out and shoot an actual elevation on the school plat to see if it matches this. He was gonna let me know, because if it matches, then, you know, we don't have much to argue about, I guess, as far as what their elevations are. If there's other elevations on here you don't think are right, we'd have to figure that out. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me that the 81 flood isn't looking like this, unless it was a different event that this doesn't take into account. I don't know.
But the other thing you have to remember is all the development and things that have happened along that stream.
True, yeah, things have
since
changed since 81.
1981.
Yeah, that's true.
And the riprap and other things that people have put in there, so that changes all of it. And we never had a map back in 1981.
We had
like-
pictures.
I'm not saying you had a map in 1980. We had an aerial photo floating around somewhere of this very picture.
Which is fine, but it was never the map that FEMA would have recognized. FEMA wouldn't even recognize that. I've talked with Megan about that in the past.
So,
Well, so talk to FEMA, see what our options
so when
are.
I wanna put riprap in a creek, is FEMA gonna come along and say, here's $5,000? I doubt that.
I doubt that, right?
NRCS doesn't do it. We do it on our own dime. That keeps the creek in the bed. It keeps the sediment in the bed,
Right.
not in the fish gravel bed downstream somewhere.
No, I agree.
And
with
we
you.
understand that, but what we're trying to do is protect all the people along there too, Steve. It's not just your property, it's everybody in the county's property, it's the taxpayers, it's everybody. that
Yeah,
we're
I get
looking
that.
at.
We're not talking about everybody. We're talking about this particular piece of property in Clancy and for 1.5 miles downstream.
But that, we just can't take your property out because you don't want it there. Everybody would come in and say, we don't want it there.
What is it doing
What
for
does-
me?
It's protecting you. What
What's it
happens if
protecting?
something,
What's it
what
protecting
happens
me
if your
from?
place floods?
What's that?
What happens with if your place floods?
I take care of it. It's my choice whether I have to insurance or not insurance.
That's fine, but when you're coming and asking for money for it to help fix
I'm
it,
not asking for money.
that's why.
We
FEMA
never asked for money to fix the thing. I'm not gonna get in an argument about it.
Yeah, no, we'll work through this, and another thing we gotta look at too is if we fix this bridge, what's it do downstream? Does that open up
Exactly.
another bunch of flooding below this? If we move this, is it gonna open up? You know, everything you do on this map, it changes everything downstream, so we
I
gotta be
think
careful.
you're way off, Corey.
No, Corey is
We're talking
correct.
about a little bit of water,
Right, yeah, you're
a
saying, yeah,
little bit of water.
right, and
2
that's,
inches in this stream bed that's 12 feet wide. How many cubic feet is that?
no, I
Not
agree
very
with you,
much.
and FEMA's got their specifications that they work under, you know, and when, Mr. Meeks was looking at that culvert, he said more water goes through that culvert, but they won't look at that culvert because it's not 36 inches or something. They don't look at any culvert smaller than
We're
30,
not talking about the culvert across the road. We're talking about the bridge across the road.
right,
That picture right there. Tomorrow, if we had a small flash flood because of the obstruction in that bridge,
right,
it's not gonna all get through there. We need to take care of that first.
sure.
And that's a 310 permit. That's all that is.
It's a
right there.
floodplain permit from the county also.
Yeah, so I mean, that's stuff we can work on, but again, it's not gonna affect what the feds are trying to do with this. I mean, we can't, like I said, we can't go fix everything in the next 3 weeks and have this change. This
I'm
isn't
not
gonna
asking you to
change.
fix everything in the next
Right.
3 weeks. I'm asking you to put the brakes on this piece of ground.
But it's a whole project, Steve, that's
Well,
been
I'm not
going for
talking about
6
the whole
years.
project.
We can't just stop it for one little piece. This has been going for at least 6 or more years to get to this point.
I'll talk to FEMA about it, Steve. I don't know what our options are. I mean, this is the feds pushing this down on us. I mean, they're saying,
Push back. That's what I'm asking.
right,
Push
no,
back.
I'll call them. I will call them and see what our options are. They kind of, the state and the feds are doing this and they're saying, okay, county commissioners, you okay it, you know, we really haven't had anything in it besides them
You
showing
can-
us what they're doing, you know?
You can say, we'll okay it on these conditions.
Right. Yeah,
You
well,
can do that.
I'll see what our options are for sure, because, no, I agree with you on a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it's not good. We got other folks in the same position, and, you know, I hate to be like Livingston too. We push and get something out of this floodplain, and then all of a sudden we have a flood, and we don't look very good then, so. So we gotta be careful how we go about this, but I'll see what our options are anyway.
You know, the same thing happened with this fire mitigation map. Put us all in this high-risk fire.
Right,
I'm into, you know where my house is.
right.
Would you say that was a low-risk fire map? You know what I'm in?
High risk,
Exactly. You know what
Yeah.
it did to my insurance?
yeah,
I tried to insure my sawmill. And you know what happened? Because I'm putting a high-risk fire and it's not in a low risk.
right,
It isn't
yeah,
a low risk.
yeah,
I couldn't afford this, $250,000.
right, no, I understand, yeah. That's the same as Basin. You wouldn't think that would be a wildfire area, because it's a residential area, but they have the whole map, the whole thing. Whether you're in the trees or in the grass, whatever, you're all in a high risk fire danger area, so.
So keep in mind as an advocate for landowners, that's who you folks work for. Is your citizens of Jefferson, not
Absolutely.
FEMA.
Yep.
Okay,
So I have a question, Mr. Marks. You mentioned on one of the maps that there was a blue line on there and you said it was incorrect. Is that something that they need to take care of?
I don't know what they can do.
Is the
I
map
don't-
incorrect?
I don't feel the map is correct. Is the map the edge of the 100-year floodplain, or is the map of the floodplain plus the 100-foot buffer? We've already got 100-foot buffers on Greenfields and that. Can't go well and lower than this and that, but I know on that map where they've got it down along the Gulf Road is far, far above the 100-year flood mark. Because the 81 flood is designated as a 100-year flood, and it's far, far from that. So what happened? How they establish this 100-year flood? and measure the area of the basins and how much water could come in this 1% chance in 100 years, that could happen. And that's my point. It's not accurate. Just because Morrison Merrily did, or whoever did it, they shot the LiDAR, and that's the model they used, doesn't mean it's accurate. We've lived there, I've lived there my entire life. I was there when 81 flooded. Just like the Lump Gulch Road. Why isn't it covered? It was covered with water for 600-700 feet there.
Yeah, we don't know what happened between now and then. You probably do. Did they go raise the road? Who knows? But the LiDAR picked that up somehow and I have no idea.
And it's not just LiDAR, the engineers went out there and took measurements of across the streams too. They did cross sections
I don't know
on all the waterways.
something-
And they put that with the LiDAR and did all their modeling with all of that. So it's not just one piece they use, there's multiple pieces.
So how did they come up with zone X and a 500-year flood? And if this piece of ground is zone X, far down the creek or a half a mile down the creek, we should have a large zone X, and there's no zone X. Doesn't make any sense. So somebody had their altimeter, or not altimeter, but their GPS on negative or something, but that's my point, is it's not accurate.
Yeah.
'Cause we're gonna comment on this through FEMA, but is that gonna change the map? Hell no.
Yeah.
Isn't gonna change it? I don't think.
The only thing you can do at this point is if you think the map is inaccurate, you need to hire an engineer and get the study done before December 9th
There you
because
go.
FEMA's
We have to
closing
hire an
down.
engineer.
Yep,
You don't
that's
think,
the
you don't think us.
that's the process.
That's the whole.
So if
problem.
you want to dispute with what data is out there now, you have to hire it to dispute it.
I think that's wrong. That is not the way government's supposed to work, guys. Some of my comments, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks,
Thank you, Steve. Hey, anyone else that has, anything for public comment at this point? That includes you, Luke. Do you have anything for public comment?
Nope, nothing here. Just happy to listen in. Thanks, everybody.
I know one of these times you're gonna want to say something.
Maybe I will. I got to think of something.
Okay. All right, then we're gonna move on to time specific resolution 24-2025, which is the canceling of uncalled for warrants. What it is, the order of cancellation of uncalled for warrants. 7-6-2607 Montana Code annotated requires the board to cause to be canceled all county warrants that have remained uncalled for 1 year or more in the county clerk's office. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners have received a list of uncalled for warrants from the county clerk and recorder. Would you like to look at that?
Sure. Some of these are 2023, most of them are 2024. Your biggest one is $863.89 for Pro Force Law Enforcement. So that's probably a vendor that either didn't get their check or didn't want it, obviously.
Didn't capture it.
The rest of them are pretty minimal. If anybody wants to look at this, they can. It's just checks we've sent out that never were cashed. And I think that our folks out here try their hardest to get a hold of these people and say, hey, you're gonna cash your check or not. I'm pretty sure that happens, so.
So just to be funny, our name's not on it, is it?
We called you 3 times.
Yeah, you do not. You know where to find me.
Nope.
Okay, thanks.
I would entertain a motion then.
I will make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we adopt resolution 24-2025, canceling uncalled for warrants.
Okay, sir, I have a second.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, now, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, the initial on the buffer, let's see, okay. I'll just get, once you started.
I wasn't on it either.
We must have the same one.
0.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna read all this time. Okay. This is resolution 25-2025, resolution authorizing participation in the Board of Investments of the State of Montana Annual Adjustable Rate Municipal Finance Consolidation Act, Extendable Bond, Intercap Loan Program, approving the form and terms of the loan agreement and authorizing the execution and delivery of documents related thereto. When I pretty much read that, have you commissioners had a chance to look at this?
Yeah, it's just authorization for us to enter into,
Right.
into a,
Solid waste truck.
yeah,
Without going into big detail.
right. This gives us authorization to go through the process to get a loan for that new solid waste truck is along 5 or 6 pages worth, so. I'd make a motion, we approve resolution number 25-2025, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I have a
Second.
second. You want to look at this? Are we good? If not, any other discussion? No, okay. I would call for the vote. Sir,
Mr. Chair, and I think Ginger is more dialed in on this than certainly I am, but there are additional documents that have to go with that resolution. And I've got to do a opinion of borrower's council opinion letter to say that it's legitimate loan. That's not due until December 5th, but I'll at least get it done. But when Ginger gets back, he might check with her as to what additional paperwork needs to be included with the resolution. This is kind of the start of the process to get the loan papers finalized.
okay, thank you, Counselor. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, if not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. That's pretty much all we have for today. Nothing else going on. We're gonna be adjourned.
Thanks, Luke. We're shutting off.